someone you brought up a few times. Right now, MJF, he was the talk of wrestling when he cut that promo right after Double or Nothing, and now we've just not seen him. I'm curious because one of Tony Khan's things that he has said in AEW in interviews with media and stuff is that, it's not going to be a difficult atmosphere backstage. The talent are going to have a say. They're going to be able to communicate with him. And now we're at this position where MJF is maybe doing a shoot angle, but the talent don't really know if it's real or if it's not, or they're not saying anything. There's been comparisons to Brian Pillman from the 90s. Do you think that the story that they're trying to do with MJF and having him walk out and try and doing this work shoot thing, is that something that can work in 2022?
Well, apparently not. Not now. I don't know what they're fucking doing. It was great a few weeks ago when he was the talk of wrestling. First of all, I wasn't ever in favor of kayfabing the boys because the idea is we all are in on the work and we kayfabe the public. But now, modern day, present day, since, to paraphrase Dutch Mantel, most of the marks are in the seats or in the locker room instead of the seats. They're blabbermouths. I wouldn't tell the boys anything. They can't wait to fucking tweet pictures of themselves with their opponents or congratulate each other on a great match or spill their fucking guts. I'm glad they're not serving in the military in World War II. We'd all be speaking fucking German. But so kayfabe and the boys is the least of my concerns about this thing. MJF is a once in a generation verbal talent, and he can work physically as well, and he looks good. He's not got the biggest size in the world, but he's got enough to get by because of the way he draws you into him. And since he was the primary one of the very few homegrown AEW developed talents that weren't on any kind of major television beforehand and had not really been seen by the general public, MJF got over better than any of them. MJF was driving ratings. MJF was selling pay-per-views in his match with Punk. MJF was actually good enough to survive the fucking dance routine with Chris, Gene, Kelly, Jericho when he tried to sabotage MJF to make himself look even more grandiose. MJF survived that. And then they get into this situation because obviously Tony, it's well known that Tony has thrown around a lot of money for some of these guys. Nobody knows exactly how much. That's their business. I've seen somebody say that Pac is one of the guys that is being paid $1 million a year. My God, as my Uncle Harold used to say, they saw Tony coming down the road. Punk's worth a few million. Jericho, for his name value at the time he came in, I would have done the same thing. As I mentioned, I didn't know he was a right-wing lunatic. But with MJF, he came in on a lower contract, so I understand that there was consternation about that because he's outperforming, outdrawing all of these other guys that are making more money. And that was the crux of the problem. So he and Tony were having it out. I wasn't involved in the discussions. Don't know anything about the backstage, but MJF comes out on television when all this makes the news and cuts that promo and says, "Fire me, motherfucker," and all this other stuff. And it was great. And everybody, like you said, the buzz, he was the hottest guy in wrestling. And the one thing Pillman, the comparison's there, except MJF actually is a better promo than Brian Pillman, I think. I think Brian Pillman just may have been a little bit better at giving you the impression he was a lunatic. But then nothing. Then he goes away, and then there's nothing followed up on. Now, here's the problem. And I said this on my show at the start of the thing. You've got to have a way for him to reappear and keep this going with that. And it still looked like a shoot. It still looked like he wasn't authorized to be there. I mean, does he buy a ticket and sit in fucking ringside and hold up a sign until security really does kick him out or whatever the fuck, right? Pillman-esque shit. Mm-hmm. Where you can't just say, oh, he can't just pop up on the fucking video screen because, okay, several people had to be okay with that, including the director and the video guy. But do stuff to make it still look legitimate and then get him involved with somebody that demands that Tony bring him back so he can get his ass kicked, whatever the case. Keep it going. Now it's been, what has it been, a month? Has it been more than a month? It seems like it's been forever.
He cut the promo on Dynamite on June 1st.
Yeah, well, the show sucks since then because Punk got hurt same time. And so for this to, maybe they've got something brilliant. There's parts of this that is definitely a shoot. We think parts of it were a work. We don't know which was which. But my God, you had something. It's just like when Bryan Danielson was the best wrestler in the world in December for about 6 weeks. He was a heel, technical wrestling heel that was also giving passively aggressive, condescending interviews. He was making it look effortless. You couldn't wait to see him in the ring. You couldn't wait to hear what he was going to say next. And then suddenly he's in the fucking Blackpool Combat Club with John the Plumber Moxley, who I've decided is the absolute shittiest wrestler on the fucking planet, and a fucking guy that they're trying to push because people are friends with him backstage, and he's hidden. That's what I'm talking about, talent mismanagement. Whether it's you've got something unexpected with Danielson, let's capitalize on that. No. You've got something with MJF, let's capitalize on that. No. You've got something with FTR, let's really capitalize on that. No. He just goes about doing his shit depending on how much Adderall he took last week. So that's what I'm saying is something better happen soon, or elsewise they've all lost out on MJF being the hottest wrestler in the business.
But Vince Russo basically took wrestling and made it completely unbelievable and made a joke out of it and shit on you guys and shit on us and shit on everybody that's actually got in the ring and taken a fucking bump and got in the ring and done anything fucking physical, because as Bill Watts would say, if he was ever fucking caught in a men's locker room, he'd be whistling Stranger in Paradise. It makes me fucking ill that this guy has managed to fucking get a goddamn living for whatever time he's been out of the wrestling business, and he doesn't respect it, and he doesn't believe in it, and he never fucking... He got a gimme because Vince McMahon woke up on the side of the bed one morning and said, we're fucking up, I'm going to do what this guy says because it's different. I'm sorry, but as Jerry Jarrett said, he considers success in pro wrestling as not a hot run, but longevity. And as far as longevity, Vince Russo ain't done shit.